I feel like not often do I get to talk to someone like on the precipice of like being introduced to a huge audience like this. Are there any like kind of anxieties you're having right now, or just like things you're thinking about that are going to be different for you?
I mean, I think before we were a pre-corona world, I definitely had an assumption or thought about like how my life would change, or if I'd be traveling, you know, doing things like this but in person, and
Yeah.
having to be dressed and that sort of thing, which was definitely exciting and enticing in a lot of ways. But because it never actually happened to me, I don't really know the difference of what it feels like, except I will say it is kind of strange to be like, okay, the trailer's coming out, like I'm gonna post it, people are gonna see it, and then it comes out and you post it and you're like,
it's there. Yeah. It's out. Yeah.
I'm like still in my sweats, like eating pizza on the couch by myself, you know, which I mean, I don't mind. I'm a super homebody kind of lady. So I don't mind it at all. And I still like, I talk to the cast members all the time and the writers, we stay really connected. So it's cool in that way. But definitely like the hype, the sort of excitement of people being around and being excited about you in your face is not there. But I don't really mind that because I'm excited about the show, you know?
Mm-hmm. And that might make the transition maybe easier. I don't know. Maybe that's like,
Maybe, yeah.
yeah, coming out in this world. For you guys in the cast, it was obviously such like, I feel like the culture of the bank was very cool, and that it was kind of like a camaraderie. Did you guys like bond in any way? What did you all do while you were in London to like get that banter going, I guess? I don't know.
Well, from the get, I was like, I know no one and I'm by myself, so you have to be friends with me. Like, period. I was like, we have to be friends. But also, I think just like the nature of the thing, being with each other all hours of the day for 6 months, working on this incredibly intense and amazing show, and working close together on set, like, just lent itself to personal relationships. And I also think we just got really lucky because we all really like each other, and like,
I'm very lucky.
yeah, I mean, like, we made a point, me and Marisa and Harry made a point to like have dinner all the time, especially since we like work long hours and no one wants to go home and like go to Tesco or whatever. So we would like go eat and like talk about our first sex scene that we've ever done in our life, or what it was like to work with a new director, you know? So we were all sort of like, we definitely bonded hardcore on it being our first massive job like this, and it being a huge amount of responsibility. I am truly obsessed with all of them, and I hate that I am here and not over there with all of them.
Are they all back there? Because they're all, I guess, British. Yeah, that makes sense. But I feel like I don't know personally not much about finance culture yet. I was able to really get into this, I guess. But I'm not sure about you. How did you pick up on all like the lingo? I felt like it was a lot of intense like deals and stuff.
Yeah, sure. Did it look like I knew what I was
It
talking
looked
about?
like you knew what you were doing, so I believed it.
So I've done my job, but the truth of that is like I still know very little, if not anything, about finance, banking, investments, like none of that. I mean, what I do know is that like people who have money and make money are usually investing it. So I'm like, okay, good to know. I should invest it. In what and how? I don't know. But
you have like sort of a clue. Yeah.
Right. I have an idea of how to do it. But to prepare for the show, I mean, mostly it's about like, of course it takes place in a bank. It's a finance drama, but really what the show is about relationships, about people, about what they want, how they get it. The young people in relation to each other, the young people in relation to their superiors, and navigating that high stakes, high stress environment, money and numbers aside. So like the preparation for that was relatively easy just because I've experienced that. Like I've been a young person going from school to then being in a job and having to be like, imposter syndrome, like, you know, what am I doing? Am I good at, you know, all those things. But for jargon purposes, I would just like do a Google search, like what is a bearish market? And then I would like put that into the context of what I was talking about. And I decided if it was a good thing or a bad thing. And then I could play it, depending on what it was. But so I'm glad that really translates, and it looks like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like even when the 4th episode was the most stressful experience I've ever had in my life. Like I had to pause it and walk away.
Right.
Like, I know what's happening is bad. But I wanted to know more about you. and your kind of journey. Where did you start acting? Like, where did you grow up? How did this all begin for you? Because this is obviously kind of a big break, I'd say.
Yeah. I grew up in San Jose, California with my mom, and I started performing and doing theater and singing and dancing when I was like 6 years old. My mom loves to say that I came out of the womb singing, which is very funny. But yeah, I started in community theater at like 6, and I did that until I couldn't anymore. And then I just knew that I liked to like sing and dance and perform. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to a high school that has a good performing arts program. And I suffered through private Catholic school for that. And then towards the end of it, everyone was like, okay, going to college. And I was like, bet, well, I'll go to college for acting because I'm not going to college for math or anything else. So I just auditioned at the best like 10 schools that I knew of, like completely naively, not understanding like what it takes to get in or, you know, what it means if you get in. I was just like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. I was very lucky and I got into Carnegie Mellon. So I went to school there. I really loved it. It was a fantastic program, like definitely the hardest, most irritating, ugliest 4 years of my life, but I'm forever grateful for it. But I think lots of people feel that way about college.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sort of like always just, I mean, I know I'm really lucky because my mom was like, you do what makes you happy. You do what you love and the rest will follow. Don't worry about it. There was never like, what's your plan B? Like she would get so mad when other parents would be like, okay, but she's gonna, you know, study marketing as well, right? And she like miss me with that, like that's amazing.
She can play it on TV,
right? But I never actually like I studied musical theater in college, and I always did musical theater, and I thought, and everyone else thought, like, oh, she's gonna go do Broadway, she's gonna go be in musicals, be in plays, and TV and film wasn't really on my radar until I got management out of school, and it just so happened that like the direction in which the industry was going, and because there's so much more content in film and television, that there were so many more opportunities for me, and I was just auditioning tons and tons, and I got really good responses, which was nice. I think I was coming up at a time where my type was very intriguing. I got a lot of like eclectic, biracial, you know, and at the time I was old, so I was very like, you know, playing all the aliens and like weird things like that. But I discovered relatively quickly that like I really have a deep love and passion for screen acting. I think I struggled in school because they were like, it's not big enough. The back of the audience is never going to hear you or see or know what you're doing. And I was like, but I'm feeling it inside. Like, isn't that enough? But when the camera's quite close, then sometimes it is enough. That was my experience. And I was like, this feels so much more authentic to me. I feel very much at home in the TV film world, and also like the craftsmanship, the process of it all is fascinating to me. And I really love the creativity in the storytelling that you can do. Like there's so many options, you know. So I definitely fell in love with the process.
That's awesome. I was watching Haunting of Bly Manor, and that girl, I looked her up and she went to Carnegie Mellon too. Y'all are having a moment, I guess. Like,
well, CMU has some. We come out the cut. We're kind of like quiet storm, but like, yeah, we don't play over there at CMU. We got a good rep. I love them. They're crazy, but I love them.
Yeah. I love what this show. You mentioned imposter syndrome, and I love what this show has to say about that in a way. Just because obviously there are people from all walks of life. There are the Etonians coming into the finance world and stuff like that. How was it for you? How did you kind of want to portray that? And have you ever felt like that in your career, I guess?
Yeah, really all the time. I mean, that's sort of like what I think is will be exciting about this show is like, yeah, it's set in a bank, but I can imagine anyone who's like, I'm going to go to school for this and then I'm going to go into this career, that little moment of like, before you're like, after you graduate, before you actually are doing the thing, like, what the heck? Nobody teaches you how to do that. So I for sure felt that. I graduated, I was like, I'm going to go be an actor on Broadway. And there I was, like, living in Flatbush, like going an hour and a half in and out to the city and never getting anything, not even hearing anything, and like working my butt off and all this stuff, and being like, I have to walk into the room like I know what I'm doing. like I know how to navigate this, like I've been doing it, like, you know, like I'm the one for the job, even if I don't know that I am, or even believe or think that I could be. But that's what these characters are doing. And I love that you mentioned like from all walks of life, but all experiencing a sort of imposter syndrome. For Harper, it's that she's got all of these secrets and maybe damning realities of her background, where she come from, where she went to school, that could jeopardize her place at this bank. But what she does have is skill and determination and savvy, and she's going to sell that beyond what her records look like. And then for characters like Yasmin, she comes from money, she comes from privilege, she has opportunity, but she wants to go to this place because she wants to be taken seriously for her ideas. And whether or not she has any, I mean, that's not the point. She's like, I've had all this privilege, and now I want to go to this place where they're gonna see me for what I do have. So her sort of secret is like, don't judge me based on that. Judge me based on what I bring to the table. Or like characters like Robert, who's like, looks like on paper maybe he should have it going on. He's got charisma, and he's white, and he's attractive, but maybe he doesn't have the skill, and he doesn't have the know-how, or maybe he doesn't have the confidence to, you know what I mean? So all of us are sort of like, we have to have this, we will inherently have this sort of imposter syndrome, because we are thrust into an environment, such an aggressive environment, that is asking us to behave as adults, so to speak, or experienced people in this environment. And you sort of just do it and make massive mistakes until you nail it, and now you know how to do it. But it's only by doing that you get there. And I think that was definitely true in my experience. I mean, acting is like 99% rejection all the time. Until you learn, when you finally do get a job, you learn how to do it, and then you go from there, you know?
That's awesome. I just graduated in May, and I feel like it's such an underrepresented time in your life. I feel like, yeah. And I was like, this is such like a cool insight into like the fresh out, just trying to navigate everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like also it was kind of, I don't know how to say natural. I want to say naturally diverse, but in a way that's like, it can be done unnaturally, where it feels like people are just there to be there. I really loved that aspect of this show. What were the characters described on paper based on race, or how was that kind of process?
Yeah. The writers, Mickey and Conrad, who had been in the finance industry before, they were, I think, not necessarily with a like, we're going to make this a diverse show. They were like, this is what this banking industry looks like. Really do. People come from all over the place, different colors, race, nationality, like all kinds of different people with backgrounds you may never know. So they just recreated what they knew to be true. And I love that you said it was naturally diverse, because that really is what a trading floor looks like. And I think people, us as lay people who aren't in the finance industry, who only know from like what we hear about in the media, like the top of the pack, and in the sort of old world of finance, it was all, you know, like inherently wealthy white men. And a lot of it still is, but that's just maybe the top. But, you know, in this show, we're looking at that world from the bottom up, and you get to see everyone who's involved. I'm particularly excited because I've definitely been doing a little, that thing you're not supposed to do, where you like snoop in the comments of like, yeah. Right? But I'm already seeing like other Black women being like, this is my life. And I'm like, yeah. So they exist. There are people out here, and I'm so excited for them to be like, yeah, I mean, yes. Nobody knows it, but I do this, and I do kill it, which I love.
I loved your hair in it. I was like, this is like awesome. But last question. I was so shocked to see like Lena Dunham's directed the first episode, I believe. What was it like working with her?
Well, first of all, it's crazy. I mean, like, as just a regular schmegular Joe, like I was like, cool, I'm gonna be in a room with a person who doesn't even seem real to me, you know? But honestly, one of the biggest blessings of this process was getting to meet her, to work with her, and to know her personally. Like, it's always such, or I imagine it will be like, to meet a person that you think you know something about them, or you think you know who they are or what they're about, and then they surprise you. And she is definitely that person to me, like one of the most generous of spirit, fun-loving, kind, gracious, humble human beings I've ever worked with. And I really admire her from a professional lens, because like as a young woman who is coming up in a similar time she was coming up, and to see her now in like a role as a director and leading a room, she does it with such grace while maintaining her artistic integrity, which I really respect. Like, she's firm and she knows exactly what she wants and how she's going to get it, and she's really good at helping others help her do that with kindness and respect, and like keeping an air of levity in the room, because no one wants to work like 10 hours on a set with a tyrant, and she's so not that. But I love that, like, because as women there's already some shit stacked against us, so like she doesn't let any of that get in the way, and she also doesn't sacrifice her personality for it, which I think is really special. And I really admire that in her, and I hope to take that lesson with me the next time I go to set.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I'm so excited for this show. It comes out my birthday, and I think anything coming out during Scorpio season is bound for success. Okay. So
I'm a Scorpio moon, and Harper is a Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio. Oh, is she? I love that. That's actually, it's going to be the headline intel, actually. I feel like that's deserves. So. Yeah.
I think I decided that she was a double Scorpio.
Did you just make that up like yourself, or was that?
No,
I love that.
I was like, can her birthday be? Well, I think they said her birthday was in October, because they're
late October,
which is no longer true. But in an earlier iteration of the script, her birthday was like in October, and I was like, can it be Halloween? Can she be a Scorpio? And I just made that up, and I was like, this is such Scorpio energy, and only Scorpios know.
I see it. I identify that. I feel that. I love the process of deciding her sign before going into it. I think that's.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.